Hello, Lorcana enthusiasts, and welcome to the Emerald color discussion. Once again, we are looking over each color from Ursula's return. We've already done Amber and Amethyst, so it means it's time to go through Emerald. We got 𝐒𝐒𝐾𝐒. I thought he was just Cricket. Who knew? He actually had a name. 𝐒𝐒𝐾𝐒. He is the lucky cricket. When you play this character, other characters get +3 this turn. I do actually really like that. A nice little power buff. Again, we've talked about different ways to deal with stuff. Amber is really good at knocking out power. This is really good at like buffing up all your Ruby characters, so you can play a Ruby Emerald strategy. Or heck, it's even really good in like Steel Emerald control, just because then you can buff all your characters up and even have them go punch face even more. But still, not a bad effect. I do like he's at 3 lore. He is a cost 5 character, so not too much power creep, but I do like the effect. We got Diablo. Again, just another way we can shift. I honestly love that we have in this set different ways to shift characters. We can just discard an action card. There's a lot of action cards, and we just shift over a character named Diablo. He has naturally evasive, which I like. Evasive, I still think, is a very good strategy for, of course, Lorcana, just because there aren't a lot of decks, unless you run into Song Control or Emerald Control, or even Amethyst Ruby, that could really deal with evasive characters, and a lot of good evasive characters have high lore count on them already, i.e. like Minnie Mouse from set 2, that can basically quest for 2 on a 3-cost body. Anyways, during each opponent's turn, whenever you draw a card while this card is exerted, you may draw a card. So, in essence, during your opponent's turn, whenever they draw a card okay, so I thought I read that from mine, but I'm like, you draw after you unexert everybody. Because locations get you lore before you draw, but it'd be ready the characters, activate effects that begin at the start of your turn, and then draw. Played so much of the online simulator that I have to actually remember how the sequencing works. The ready is where the locations activate and give you their lore for the turn. Then you would unexert everybody, and then you draw for your turn. Then that's when, of course, the Steel Beast would trigger to draw you another card. I do like this. This is actually very strong. I think last time I checked TCG Player, he was going for $50 a pop, but it makes complete sense when you realize during your opponent's, because you can exert him because he's evasive, not many things can harm him, so there's no like big fear of exerting him against certain deck strategies. You just get to draw an additional card. I mean, they draw a card, you draw a card. Oh, it's whenever they draw a card. Okay, that's even better. So if your opponent draws a card, anytime without, you just draw another card. So it's just really nice. Just a great way to fill your hand and continually keep your hand size up and continually keep the train of needed items. Again, being able to have a bigger hand than your opponent is a good resource in Lorcana, especially when there aren't so many ways to draw additional cards. Most of them are like at the start of your turn and all of that. Some decks, depending on the colors, don't even have another draw engine. Emerald has it with Donald Duck. Now with, of course, Diablo. Steel has it with the Beast, and I don't know if the other colors really have it. I know you can draw cards, like for instance, if this is exerted while the Amethyst Queen from the last set into the Inklands, when she quests, she draws you a card. While he's exerted, you just draw another card. I mean, it's really good against literally this card will be good as long as there are cards that draw outside of the draw phase. Heck, even it doesn't even depend on when your opponent's drawing. They could draw on their draw phase. They could draw on any time. It's just whenever they draw, you draw. So really good card. Just very, very strong. We got another Diablo. When you play this character, you may look at each opponent's hand. It's about Amethyst. Sapphire has the same method. That's a 1 cost. This is just a 1 cost, but that's on a body. Amethyst has the exact same thing where you can look at your opponent's hand. It's very nice. Again, we have characters that already do this that didn't allow you to pitch stuff out of your opponent's hand. It's nice to see we have another way to look at our opponent's hand, but honestly, in Emerald, there are way better cards to look at your opponent's hand. You got Honestly, because you throw it in for the hand control colors, we honestly have the Ursula from the last set that basically looks at our opponent's hand and then pitches out songs right out of their hand. So I mean, we already get hand knowledge for 2 costs, and there's a chance we could just pitch something out of their hand. Yeah, it's nice to look at our opponent's hand, but honestly, unless we can start seeing more cards that maybe see our opponent's hand, and then we can name a card out of our opponent's hand and then pitch it, much like Mind Crush is for Yu-Gi-Oh! That'd be pretty neat. I would honestly expect with 2 cards and look at our opponent's hand and other couple Emerald cards that we have bare necessities for Amber that can look at our opponent's hand, discard something, a non-character card. So honestly, it's really nice. I honestly do think we could get something like a Mind Crush card where we could start announcing out characters or card names out of our opponent's hand. And then I think the ability to have like Diablo and the Sapphire card that allows us to look at our opponent's hands just a little bit better. Well, the Sapphire card was used in a aerial OTK deck because of the aspect that you were able to look at your opponent's hand and kind of determine your next plays. There is some nice stuff here to do with Diablo, and I think he does have some use to like figure out when to play him so you can see your opponent's hand, so you can sculpt your plays around your opponent's hand. It's pretty nice. It's okay. Again, I think if we could get like a Mind Crush style card for Lorcana, I think these cards that look at your opponent's hand would be so much stronger. We got Gunther. When this character is challenged and banished, each opponent loses one of their characters and returns that character to their hand. Okay, so basically, in essence, he's much like what we've seen with other Emerald cards. If they're challenged and banished, they do something. It's about as typical it is. I wish they banished another character, then returned them to their hand. But honestly, I don't mind the return, because the aspect is that the character has to dry with ink, and they do have to respend the ink to replay it. So if it's like a high-cost character, and they have to battle between other high-cost characters in their hand for their limited amount of ink, I don't actually mind this. Again, in a game that resets the board on characters drawing, on your opponent having to respin that ink to resummon it, that's not bad. I think I'd rather play Mother's Knows Best. At least I can sing it on the Ursula from Into the Inklands. At least I can bounce 2 characters back instead of 1. But again, it's not bad because it is questing for 2. It's not a 3/3 body, so, and it doesn't have to ban it. Doesn't have to bounce back any. Your opponent does get to choose, which is the one problem, that they could choose a little guy back to their hand and not choose their big guy. But again, if all they have is a big guy on the board, this does hurt them. We got Gus. He's just a vanilla. That's about it for him. We got Hades. Banish one of your other characters. Play a character with the same name as the banished character for free. That's pretty neat. I could definitely see some use of this, of like questing with something that has an effect on play, and then immediately banishing that character and then playing the same character from your hand. The problem is you need that character in your hand as well, so this is situational only really if you have the character in your hand. So, I like the effect. I think there could be some future uses to the effect. But honestly, right now, I don't know. I definitely could see you could do like on the Amber Hades, where you could do Amber Hades play to get Amber Hades, and then next turn swing that Amber Hades into one of your characters, then banish that Amber's Hades again to summon another, just so you can kind of cycle them back and forth. But honestly, I don't know. Maybe using like a Rusher. I don't see many applications for this right now, just because I think it's so situational, because you have to have another character of that name in your hand. Now, it's that name, so there's about 1,000 characters with the same name of Mickey Mouse, Jasmine, because they're not changing like the names. So honestly, it's not actually bad now thinking about it, because you can play out anyone with that name. It's not the sub name. So if it was like that named character with that same subname, then it'd be very, very bad. And personally, it wouldn't be very playable at all. But honestly, with now reading it, because it's just the same name, you could put out like banish a little Mickey Mouse and then play a big Mickey Mouse for free. So I think it has some applications. I think it will depend on the color you play it in, or the secondary color you play it in. We got Hey Hey. If you play a character and at least one opposing player has more cards in their ink supply than you, that's their ink well, you may place the top card of your deck face down exhausted into your ink supply. So basically, all you're doing is you play a character, and if your opponent has at least another ink, so this is trying to deal with the Sapphire ramp ability. It's basically trying to keep you up with Sapphire. So where Sapphire can ramp over you so fast, you'll be like at maybe 6 and your opponent will be at 9, and you're on the same amount of turns. This basically chases Sapphire, which is not bad in all honesty. It sucks that you won't know what the top card of your deck you're putting into your inkwell, but I guess Sapphire kind of does the exact same thing in their own right. So, but it's nice because it does allow Emerald to try to catch up with Sapphire strategies. So, not bad. Again, it's really, in my opinion, I mean, maybe if you miss like an ink drop, it's not bad either, but most decks aren't missing their ink drop. This is more or less, in my opinion, to kind of chase against Sapphire strategies because Sapphire can easily ramp up extremely fast into their ink levels. So it just allows you to chase Sapphire just a little bit, and it allows you to have like Sapphire move up the line and then allow you to ink something for free, play him, and then because your opponent's still higher than you, ink another card. So you're kind of also ramping, and it's pretty nice. So honestly, situational, because honestly, unless you're playing against Sapphire where you can actually like use his effect more efficiently, it's nice in case you miss a ink drop, but the second your opponent falls back behind you, he's kind of useless. It's really only if your opponent's like faster ramping than you, or if you happen to miss a ramp. Nonetheless, not bad. We got Hera, we got Ward. You know, funny enough, Hera should probably be way more like higher powered and all that, but that's because Zeus was always cheating on her. She was always angry. She gives all Zeus characters Ward. You know, at least the Hercules movie made them a happy couple, happy married couple. That wasn't even true. That's not even half the truth of Greek mythology. Zeus was always cheating with some woman. And then your characters of the Hercules gain evasive. Pretty nice. It's basically if you wanted to play some kind of like Zeus Hercules tribal deck. I don't think it's bad. I do like that we're kind of seeing them kind of push us to like tribal strategies. Like saying, well, here's a bunch of things you can do with all these characters. And right now, on 4 sets, I don't think we have like enough to build like a tribal deck strategy where it's like just exclusively Zeus and exclusively Hercules. But we're getting there. We're getting a lot of different Hercules and a lot of different Zeuses. The problem is they're kind of spread out between different colors. So maybe if we could see more Zeus and more Hercules in one exclusive color, maybe then that would be pretty nice. But overall, I don't mind it. It does give all your Zeus's the ability to not be targeted by card effects, and it does basically make all your Hercules can only be challenged by your opponent if they have rush evasive as well. So not bad. We have 𝐿𝐷. I think that's how you say his name. 𝐿𝐷. I don't know what 𝐂𝐻. I think they're French. I can't remember where Cinderella's actually like physically set or mythologically set. I think France. I don't know. I think that's how you say it. You can all correct me down in the comments. When you play this character, chosen posing character gains reckless during the turn. Actually, I like that. Again, just another way. It's a really good character to combine with Rourke, where Rourke says that if you're you give something reckless, but also the aspect is that if that character is banished in a challenge and you have some big character, or you play the annoying emerald characters like Cheshire Cat, that when he gets banished in a challenge, he banishes whatever banished him. So I mean, there are things we can do like a Rourke strategy. Again, reckless I think is really nice because it does force your opponent into these weird game states where they can't quest at all, and they'll have to come swing on things, and maybe they have to swing into things that aren't exactly swingable. Like I said, like 𝐑𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿's Palace is really great from into the Inklands because it gives everything. If anything is challenged and is banished, you just banish a challenging character. Like I said, a really good deck strategy with like Rourke and with John Silver, and now another character. The problem is he only gives it on play. I would like more characters that did it like John Silver, where he can quest and on play give something reckless. It would be really, really nice because I think we could build a deck strategy of just turning all our opponent's stuff into reckless and making them come punch our face in. Now, they can, of course, challenge the location. There's nothing stating that, but we have other locations that could combine with it where they have to challenge characters at the location. So it's an interesting deck thought. I honestly do want to see more stuff that could give out Reckless that isn't just on play. But nonetheless, cool. Anyways, we got Jasmine. When you play this character and every time she is challenged, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Another hand control card, whether you played in Emerald Steel or Emerald Amber, it's just another good card to control your opponent's hand. It's just another one of those cards your opponent doesn't want to challenge against, just like Belle from set 2. That quest for 3, that was a 5-cost character, but that Belle could shift for 3 cost over anybody. This Jasmine can't, but also that Belle also stated your opponent got rid of their entire hand. So, just some more cards to kind of play around with, like hand control strategies, where your opponent definitely doesn't want to quest against this. I think she would have been a little bit better for me if she had one more lore to make her more tempting on my opponent to have to swing over. Because then, but then again, I think honestly, if I was going to choose this over the Belle, I think I'd choose the Belle, because at least she quests for 3. She's on a 5/5 body. Yeah, she's on a 5/5 body. She quests for 3, and she pitches my opponent's entire hand. If she's challenged, yeah. Whenever this character is challenged, the challenging player, like I prefer this. I thought she was on a 5/5 body. No, she's on a 3/3 body. I mean, she shifts over for 3, but she's the same cost as Jasmine naturally. I just think I prefer her because she actually does have the ability to play for 3. Not mentioning she could play over with, of course, Bucky, which apparently now is a hated card. I don't know why. You let me know in the comments. But I mean, maybe it's because Emerald Steel hand control is becoming prominent again and people just hate hand control. But yeah, I think I prefer the Belle over the Jasmine personally, just because she quests for 1 more and she has a much harsher effect if challenged than Jasmine. Jasmine's nice because, again, she does discard a card, but I just prefer Belle because Belle just gets rid of my opponent's entire hand. And if they have a hand they can't get rid of Belle besides challenging into her, then I honestly feel better about that. We got Megarar, or I'm just going to call her Meg, just because that's how she's called in the movie. She's got the sultry look right there. The authors knew what they were doing. When you play this character, choose to discard a card or banish this character. Yeah, I think it's pretty neat, especially for a 3/6 body on a 3-cost character, 3/6. She does have pretty much a pretty harsh effect. But again, I would probably discard the card, honestly. But honestly, I still wish we could get a color that could play from the banish zone. I feel Amethyst could definitely do it, where they could start playing stuff out of banishment. And I honestly think that's what we need to see. Honestly, 100%, I would love it if we could get that in Lorcana. Like I said, I wish Sapphire could start playing stuff out of their Inkwell, and then Amethyst could start playing stuff out of the drop. Come on, other games have ability to play stuff out of the graveyard. Can we please get it in Lorcana now? With all the amount of characters that could do stuff, that pitch stuff to the graveyard, can we please get something that can use it from the banish zone? But nonetheless, neat card. We got a ward Meg here. Whenever you play a character named Hercules, you may raid this character. Again, I like that. It's also not restrictive, so she can also quest again. And again, we have a really good Sapphire Hercules. That's a Rush Reckless character. That's like a 7/3. That's really nice. Or another nice Hercules character to kind of go with Maui. So honestly, you could play that in this strategy and then just restand there and quest again for 2, which is pretty nice. We got a vanilla Pain. Again, we do have already a Pain and Panic from set 2 that kind of do stuff together. And again, because the names are Pain Panic and they don't specify their sub-names on here, you can get those effects. Just like I said, we can play a Flotsam Jetsam strategy using the Flotsam Jetsams we've already gotten, and then kind of just mash them all together and give them all this line of effects that they can do with the stuff. We got Panic. While this character is exerted, if you have a character named Pain, again, any Pain, in play, your villain characters can't be challenged. I do like that. It's basically telling you you can play a villain deck strategy. The problem is, in my opinion, I think villains are right now like in Amethyst Amber, and if honestly you're going to play villains, I'd honestly want to play Amber because they got the Shift Hades that can buff himself for each lore for each villain you have in play, which means that exclusively pulling you into Amber, and this would be pulling you into Emerald. I don't think that's a really bad. There are some really good villains in both, and Panic does basically make sure that all your villains just can't be challenged, which means that Hades can't be challenged at all until Panic is challenged. And then you can even put Panic on the 𝐒𝐲𝐶𝐂𝐑𝐿 Palace in play, put Panic on 𝐒𝐲𝐶𝐂𝐑𝐿 Palace, and then play like the couple of Pain Panics from set 2 and the Pain Panics here, just so you can make sure that there is a couple of Pain characters and the board for him. Put him on 𝐒𝐲𝐶𝐂𝐑𝐿 Palace, and then your opponent has to challenge him first. So if they get challenged on 𝐒𝐲𝐶𝐂𝐑𝐿 Palace, you can just basically force your opponent to have to remove 𝐒𝐲𝐶𝐂𝐑𝐿 Palace, which of course doesn't mean you're removing Panic. And if they have to remove Panic, then while they're on 𝐒𝐲𝐶𝐂𝐑𝐿 Palace, they just get removed themselves, which is pretty nice overall. We got a couple of Pegasus cards here. The Shift 3 for any character named Pegasus. We only have one character named Pegasus. This is the first time he's appearing in the series. In the card pool, you got Evasive. When you play this character, if you used Shift to play him, he gains Evasive at the start of your next turn. If you use Shift to play him, your characters gain Evasive until the start of your next turn. Okay, I was like, wait, he already had naturally Evasive. Why is he giving himself a keyword he already has? No, he gives everything Evasive. Again, another really good card. He only Shift costs for 3. He can turn everything Evasive, so you can get an entire evasive strategy, and they gain it until the start of your next turn. So basically, they keep it through the entirety of your opponent's turn, which is really, really, really nice. And honestly, it's just really, really good because the aspect that, again, a lot of stuff can't really deal with evasive unless you're playing with the two colors, either the steel color, basically, or the ruby color that do have abilities to kind of knock stuff out. Ruby right now, yeah, they are playing, of course, Madame Medusa and Lady Tremaine, and of course do have their 5-drop, the 7-drop Be Prepared to play on the board as well. But nonetheless, I do really like it because I think evasive is a very underlooked strategy and can take games right under people because of the aspect that it's just so good of a color, or so good of a key skill that there aren't many decks that can actually deal with it. So I do really like this effect there. Again, of course, the body on it too. And then Pegasus, he's got an invasive already on his body and a 1/1. So basically, you just play him, and then 2 turns later, you also do it. I also like that we're having another card here. Basil is the only other one where you kind of want to shift him because of the aspect where he gets his cost. You can also play Morph in this strategy because then Morph acts as any character's name when playing for shift, which is nice too because now we're seeing other shift characters that don't need to play ink to shift. We can now go Morph and then just pay the shift cost, like discard card or do this or something like that, and then we could just shift over Morph, which is pretty nice. So, good couple more evasive cards again for an evasive strategy. We got Pete. So, anyways, of course, we're filling out more of the characters from the Musketeer movie. We're just missing Pete's 3 underlings that do basically everything for Pete. Pete is the head of the Musketeers. And is trying to abduct Princess Minnie so that he can claim the throne for himself. Whenever this character quests, while he has 5 power or more, return chosen character 2 power less to their player's hand. We've seen this. We have another Pete from, I believe it was Into the Inklands or Floodborn, that basically did the kind of same thing. If he's got so much power, he does this. So, just another nice, neat character. Again, really good to play with a bunch of supporters, which Sapphire is probably the best to give supporter to. We got just a vanilla Pete. This is when now he is the king. And now he wants to sing a song. Who would have thought? No, I feel like singing a song. Oh man, why is that movie still stuck in my head? It's incredible. I still have it in my head. Anyways, we got Prince Philip. This is, of course, Alter, which is shift. So he can shift for a play cost of 6 over any Prince Philip. He's a 9-cost character, too. Whew. Pretty high. I think you could definitely play him in Sapphire. I think this is the highest Emerald character, because typically the high-cost characters live in Ruby. He has evasive, and then when you play this character, banish all opposing characters with at least 1 damage token. Okay, that's actually really neat. This plays around Amethyst's new mechanic, in essence, where you can just kind of push damage counters around to wherever you want to go. So as long as the character has at least a damage counter on it, you can just go Prince Philip, knock it all out, knock the entirety of the board out. Now it's opposing characters, it's not locations. So you can't just hit a location and then just play Prince Philip and knock everything out. I like this because it does have a payoff for running the Amethyst cards that basically move damage counters around to characters. This has a payoff for wanting to do that. That is really, really good. Honestly, really, really strong. And I think it gives that, like I said, that payoff to where we should start contracepting the idea of damage counter moving around with Amethyst. I just think this is really the only payoff for that deck strategy, besides, of course, knocking out things by moving damage counters all around the board. Is it good? I mean, it's really the only payoff for running the Amethyst, put damage counters everywhere, so I don't know. It's neat. I think if we could get a couple more payoffs for moving damage counters around, I think we could honestly see a deck strategy with it. We got Prince Philip. Your other hero characters gain wards, so this is really nice. Again, if you're just going to play like a hero deck, which of course the hero is always the prince or the main character, I like that you can get ward, which means you can give yourself a lot of protection. Again, you need another Prince Philip to protect this Prince Philip. You need two Prince Philips so they can give each other ward. So, nonetheless, really neat. The Fates, when you play this character, look at top card of each of your opponent's deck. I mean, it's nice. Again, just another way to look at your opponent's deck. I think if we could get some cards that could say, mill the top card of our opponent's deck based on what is correct or something like that. Again, we do have from Amethyst, we had Bruno, but Bruno looks like the top card of our deck. And then we could, if we name it correctly, we add to our hand and gain 3 lore for tapping him. I think it'd be really nice if we had like a card, if this read like look at our deck and then scry it. But I like looking at our opponent's deck as well. The aspect is that we only do it once, and I don't know if there's much of a payoff. So really looking at our top card of our opponent's deck and doing what with it, knowing what they're gonna draw. I guess it helps with like getting like maybe an Ursula up and running. But honestly, it's iffy at best for me. I wouldn't know what like strategies to really even utilize it at this moment in time until we get to something that could name the top card of our opponent's deck and then play it out, kind of like what Spiral was for Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyways, we have the Muses. We got War. Whenever you play a song, you may return chosen character with 2 costs or less for their player's hand. I wish that was 3 costs personally. A lot of really, really good characters are at 3 power. As we can see with Madame Medusa when she first came out, and why she was so powerful is because that so many good characters are sitting at 3 power. 3 power or less. And it's really nice. Again, it is a chosen character, so it does mean ward can't affect us. And honestly, I like it. I just wish it buffed it up to like 3, and I think we would have a really good, interesting card. We got Thor. It's just a vanilla. We got Zeus. When you play this character, when this character challenges another character, he gets power equal to the power of chosen character this turn. So basically, he just takes the power of another character. So as long as you have a big-bodied character on the board, he could just take it and just go blah over it. Not bad. Now we're getting into our actions, our songs, our items, and our locations. We got Dodge. Chosen character gains ward and evasive. Neat. I think we have characters that naturally do that and can give it way better than just playing a 2-cost action. So honestly, play the characters that can do it for you. Make the potion. You can banish chosen item, deal 2 damage to chosen character. I like that. Again, just another card to kind of play with that Amethyst move, damage counters around and all of that. Because again, that then makes this Prince Philip just a little bit better. We got Under the Sea, copyright strike, oh, copyright strike. Anyways, another sing together. It's very interesting. We're seeing like the very high cost songs right now. All are sing together, which I like. I like that it's not exclusive to like the two big singers being in Amber, being Ariel and Cinderella, that we can just sing a bunch of characters together to get this. So anyway, to sing together 8, so you need an 8 cost total cost of 8 or more of your character singing it. Put all opposing character 2 costs or less at the bottom of your opponent's deck and anywhere. I like that. Actually, now thinking about it, we can actually do a whole lot better than this. Amber Emerald. 𝐑𝐒 from set 3 Into the Inklands, where she reduces the power of everybody on the board when she is played, whether that be shifting over a 𝐑𝐒 or morph, or just playing her naturally. Now this has a payoff for doing this. I think we could actually get an Amber Emerald strategy where you're just reducing your opponent's play cost by absolutely nothing, which then actually, now think about it, does now utilize more of this effect where we can bounce stuff back to our opponent's hand at low power, which actually now is really neat of a deck strategy now coming up with it. I totally forgot about 𝐑𝐒 doing it. So I definitely could see you using Amber's ability to give negatives to power all over the place, seeing this, and then just putting all those characters at the bottom of your opponent's deck. And again, depending on the deck strategy, they may not be able to draw those characters for turns, and you will win. Again, a hard reset to the board a lot of times will hurt a lot of decks. So I can honestly see Amber Emerald power control being a very good viable strategy right now. Again, if we could see some more cards that could do stuff like this, that could spin stuff at the bottom of our deck or spin it shuffling into our opponent's deck, I would not mind at all. It would give more of a payoff for Amber's ability to reduce power. We got Ursula's Trickery. Each opponent may choose to discard a card. For each opponent who doesn't, you may draw a card. Again, we kind of saw that with Amber's ability of their little contract. If your opponent doesn't discard a card, you get to gain 2. I didn't put this in my Emerald Amber hand control deck. I honestly could have put this. Honestly, I think I would have done this over the contract personally. And honestly, I could see this in Steel as well. Emerald Steel, just because it's a very good card. Because if they don't discard, you just get to draw another card. In essence, giving advantage to yourself is not bad, especially if your opponent can't discard. So you could play this when they have no cards in your hand, and you just get a free draw, which is not bad. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. I swear that's not the tune at all. I know it, but this song was like the catchiest song when it first came out. I can honestly remember this was song. But anyways, return chosen character to the opponent's hand. We do get to choose this one this time, and then that player discards a card at random. I like this because if they have no cards in their hand, and you have to spin back, say something they want to keep on the field, let's say like a Steel Beast, then they discard that immediately. No more Steel Beast. I like this for a song. You can use it in any form of hand control, and personally, you could use it in really any emerald control strategy too, especially with like Mother Knows Best, like a green bounce strategy that we looked at in post Into the Inklands. You could do this now in that strategy as well, because what we're doing is we're going to bounce something and force our opponent to discard cards. So if we're resetting their board, that is very, very strong, because resetting them is very good. Again, that character has to come out and dry again. That character can't quest. If that character doesn't have an on-play skill, then honestly, it's very, very good. Now, mind you that if you're sending back a character with a really good on-play skill, be cautious that you better be playing a hand control strategy, because if you send it back to them and you're not playing hand control, and they replay it and it's a very good on-play skill, be cautious about that. But nonetheless, very strong song. The Hidden Inkcaster. I like this. When you play this item, you may draw a card, and I like this. All cards in your hand count as having ink symbol. So basically, I was trying to read this originally when I was reading through the set. I realized that's the ink symbol. So everything in your hand is inkable. Personally, this is very strong for like an Emerald Sapphire strategy, because now you wouldn't have to play Fishbone Quill in that strategy, where you can still play Fishbone Quill personally, but to put another card in your inkwell, This just makes it so that Belle can ramp faster in this, because once Belle hits 10 ink, she basically gains 4 lore to her, so she becomes a 5 lore character. This can turn anything you need to ink, and you don't have to see Fishbone Quill to ramp. So this is really, really nice for any color that combines with Emerald. It can turn everything into inkable, so that way you're never really missing an ink drop, ever. So if we start seeing more decks become more viable that have more non-inkable characters, playing this would almost be a auto-mandatory, because then we can turn everything into inkable, which is really nice. I really, really like this card. Like I said, if you're playing Emerald Sapphire, I would play more, probably a couple more of this than Fishbone Quill, but I'd honestly still play Fishbone Quill because we do get ramp off that as well. So, nonetheless, it was really good. We got Signed Contract. Whenever your opponent plays a song, you may draw a card. Situational. That's all I'm going to say about this. Your opponent has to be playing songs, and while there are a lot of decks that do play songs, it's not a lot of decks play a lot of songs. Song Control and Emerald Control would be the only two that would play a good amount of songs. Everything else might play a single small selection of songs, but not enough to, like, play this. Again, we're kind of seeing more cards about this story of the multiversal Ursulas here, which is pretty neat. I don't know, like, what the full storyline of Lorcana is, because I feel like we are building on each chapter. Is building up the story and all of that, which is pretty neat. But anyways, if there were side decks, I'd honestly put this in the side deck, especially if a meta went into more like Song Control, Emerald Control, more decks playing songs, then this would be really nice. Maybe we'll see more like of a song meta in the future as songs become more and more prominent in each continuing set, then this would become more prominent. Again, that's my problem, is like, I wish they had a side deck. Even if it was like, say, 10 cards, I wouldn't mind it, because then this would be a really good side deck card to go into like your game 2 or your game 3 against a deck that runs songs. And then you just be valuing off their songs. So, that's about as much. We got the Vision Slab here. At the start of your turn, if an opposing character has a damage counter, has damage, gain 1 lore. I get another really good card to combine. They get that payoff of using Amethyst's new damage movement. And the damage counters can't be removed, which is really nice as well. This harms Amber. Amber wants to be healing. That's Amber's stitch with like all of the Rapunzel line, which wants to heal and then gain value off those heals. Not mentioning if you're playing against like Amber Ruby that are playing like Mother Gothel and Mulan, who self-damage themselves on play and then use cards to gain back to basically heal that, like the set 1 Rapunzel that would heal up to 3 damage and you could draw that many cards. So this is really nice because it does mean that they can't remove the damage counters, and it does mean that we can basically continue to keep damage everywhere and then use all the Amethyst cards to kind of move that damage around where we want it. So honestly, I think we are seeing a really good Amethyst Emerald damage control style deck. I think we actually have some payoffs now because they can't remove damage. This Prince Philip is almost always going to be a nuke on board, and then we're just threatening always with the Amethyst's ability to basically produce damage counters and then move damage counters. So I think there is a deck strategy. Is it good? It's kind of slow in my opinion, but I think if you did it with the Emerald Beast, I think you can get a good deck going where you could just OTK with using the Emerald Beast effect. Anyways, we have Hidden Cove. Characters get a +1 and +1 will while here. So they get an additional power and additional will. I don't find that bad. It means you could just play. I think it'd be really good in a Emerald Ruby, like Sherakai Khan, Queen of Hearts, even playing Rourke in those strategies, and then sitting a bunch of characters here that you want to do without the challenges. Personally, you could even send all your Reckless and your Rush guys here and give them an additional will so they can last a little bit longer against certain decks, but still, not bad. I do see some real good playability with it. And then Ursula's Garden. While you have an exerted character here, opposing characters get -1 lore. Ooh, okay. While you have an exerted character. Okay, so you can't just combo a bunch of exerted characters onto here and minus your opponent's lore by 3 or 4. It's whenever you have an exerted character here. No, it's while you have an exerted character here. Okay, so there's 2 ways to read this. Reading it is, one way you could read it is as long as you have at least a character, and no matter how many characters you have here, as long as there's an exerted character there, as long as you have an exerted character, no matter if you have like 3 or 4 exerted characters, your opponent just gets -1 lore. If you read it and you have an exerted character here, so if you have, say, 2 characters, they're both exerted, your opponent would be getting a -2 to their lore. Honestly, if it's option number 2, I love it. Even if it's option number 1, I love it. Especially you could play this in an evasive strategy because, again, what's your opponent going to do against evasive characters that are exerted? They're just going to sit there and minus your opponent by lore. So, honestly, then you can get more of those deck strategies where opposing characters get challenged, they do something, and all of that. Of course, it would force your opponent to come after it, so you would want to do something to try to protect this location. I can't, on tip of my tongue, I can't remember if there's such cards that do that, but nonetheless, I love it. I love it as a good control card. Nuisance control card. Overall, Emerald is Emerald. It's evasive characters, it's controlling characters, it just does really good things, and personally, it does have a very, very strong card in Diablo that basically, whenever your opponent drawing, while he is exerted, heck, even more or less, you could exert him on Ursula's Garden, which is even more funny, and basically just draw cards. I love it. Emerald is Emerald. It's a good just control color. Always will be a good control color. And there are really good strategies coming out of it from some really good hand control cards, some stuff to support villains, another good evasive packet, a couple more good evasive cards, some neat niche cards that right now I think need to have some niche cards that need some more cards to buff around it. I like this wand. I think don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno is really good. I love Vision Slab, Prince Eric for, of course, Amethyst Ruby damage control. I think Under Sea is just very powerful for an Amber Emerald reduced power control. And like I said, I think Ursula's Garden is probably the best location, though I do think Hidden Cove is still very good as well. But let me know down in the comments your thoughts on all the Emerald cards. What strategies have you've made up with Emerald? What strategy you think will come out of Emerald? And how do you think cards that we see here that really don't have like a spot currently right now in the game will evolve over? And what would you like see with Emerald in future sets? What would you like Emerald to do more of in future sets? Let me know all that down in the comments. And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you can know when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Mama Dragons TCG.